Welcome to another episode of Queen3 and King. I'm your baby, King Doc. I'm just a baby, but I still cuss a little bit.
Childish. Childish.
What?
Grow up. Grow up.
Today.
I'm going to have fun with that fact, especially when I get to cussing. Welcome to another episode of Queen3 and King. I am your host, King Doc. You also see these other hosts there. You see them. You know who they is. We'll get to them in just a moment. Today's episode, to spank or not to spank. Is you still whooping these kids? Or is you not? It depends on how light-skinned they is, because that is a factor, is it not?
Yeah.
So when they go to school,
Hey.
as you can see, we have two queens present. Our third queen, hopefully, will be joining us shortly. So in the comments, you will see Facebook. Like, for instance, we have a Facebook user on. It says, I am here for it today. However, I do not see the individual's name. So in order to do that, before leaving a comment, please grant Restream permission to to see your name. Okay. This is the link. I'm also going to post it in our chat so you can see it there. That way you can just click on it directly. But I want to do that early on. I'm getting an echo for some reason. But I want to do that early on. Let's see. There you go.
Yes, now I'm seeing some names.
There we go. We got Keisha Walker in the house. What's going on?
Come on in, sit down.
I think you got hacked too, Keisha, on Facebook. So you need to double check that now.
He gonna let you know live, okay? Yeah, you got hacked.
Yeah, you got hacked. Stop going on them porn sites. You won't have to worry about it. Let's see. There's something else. Okay, we do have a call-in number that we may get into and try to test. I tested it this weekend. The test was successful, so we will attempt to try that as well. So just stay tuned for that. When it's time, we may give you a call-in number and act like you got some sense. All right, we got the seasoned queen in the building. Looks like her connection is on and popping now. So again,
she needs to say something.
Huh? Can you see us?
I can see y'all. Can y'all hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it wouldn't let me on my laptop or my phone like 3 or 4 times.
Wait.
All right. Yep. So we got Mr. Jackson in the house, who's got his name and Facebook and whatnot.
Everett.
If you are listening via YouTube, shoot us a comment too, so we can make sure that those comments are coming through as well. Again, our topic today is to spank or not to spank, and we'll go ahead with these introductions. Let's see, we got CJ Boyd on the line.
Hello.
Hey, CJ.
He looks like he's coming from Facebook as well. Let's see, Keisha Walker said, no, sir. If it's the page that says Keisha Walker Hill, that account was hacked a while ago, so let me watch my porn in peace. Yeah, see, I knew it. What's up, Mr. Curtis? We got Eric Curtis in the building.
Hello.
Good to have you, sir. Good to have you. Good to have you. All right. Yep, hold on. All right. We don't put that back up. All right. So with our introduction, starting first out of Anna, Texas, by way of East Garland, Texas, standing at 5'3" tall, graduate of South Garland High School and Concordia University, Le Cordon Bleu. She taught her daughter how to cook some damn good cinnamon toast crunch cake.
I didn't teach her that.
I don't know if the crunch was supposed to be there or not, because when I bit it, it wasn't crunchy, but it was cinnamony. That's the word.
You don't talk about my baby.
She goes by Darling Nikki, Coco, the Glam Mall, Boney Maroney, Skinny Minnie. What up, Queen?
Good evening, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
Don't let it
Well,
happen again.
She probably was
Talk to this
straightening.
system over here.
She was probably straightening that headband. We ain't got headband.
Oh, I
Man,
know
we
he
ain't got
loves
that.
I
That's
know
probably
you
why
ain't
she a
talking.
little late.
I know you ain't talking, girl.
He's an idiot.
And next, still involved in a huge imbroglio out of the state of Oklahoma, and that is all we can say about
Come
that.
on, Brody.
The Oklahoma investigative unit of the FBI is involved now because apparently there was some corruption, some sort of sex scandal involving the pastor at what is the name of that unit? Oral Roberts. These just jokes, Oral Roberts. Do not come for me.
I'm about to say these are jokes.
That's all you gonna get is a used microphone, baby.
He just playing.
So the educator, Meba, standing at 5'3" tall, out of East Garland, Texas. Talk to the people, Tyrone. I mean Georgia. You Georgia. That's another nickname I gotta start giving to Georgia. The baby one is Tyrone.
I'm about to say that's the wrong one.
No, wait a minute. No, you are Georgia. Delisha is
Donnie.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You are Georgia and Tyrone. Yeah, that's you.
No,
Have you seen you
They
drink?
call me Donnie and
Have
Tyrone.
you seen you drink?
no water.
Okay.
Mm.
You ain't never seen no little people when you was drunk.
Don't
I
do
think
my
you
uncle. Don't do my uncle.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Yeah.
All right. And last but not least,
That was
Donnie,
good.
Thank you.
formerly known as Blake's mother, but now is Bronx's mama because that's all the one you see her holding. I ain't posted a picture of Blake in about how long it's been.
Nice. You were a liar.
It's been a whole 2 months, Ted.
Yeah, the
Nice.
baby queen, Mama Lee, of at least one Viles boy that we know of. What up, Queen?
Hello, everybody, and happy International Women's Day to all my queens out there.
So let me say that in some other languages. You said international. Hell, I gotta say it to some people.
No, you lying.
What did he say?
You will not have us out there like that.
Hey, I will hit you in your throat.
I'm friends with the South Africans.
We are too. We want to keep it that way. Offensive much?
Oh my, y'all.
Y'all see what CJ
Boy,
said?
these my sisters, man. Where you been?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, CJ.
I am unmarried. I got a bunch of side pieces, but they do not make public appearances, buddy.
Ooh.
Hey, that's enough. That's enough.
Make that bed up.
All
right, let's get into this. Let's get into this topic because I'm interested to see what folks say on this. Okay, so to spank or not to spank. Now, I'm gonna start with Lily on this. What do you think when you hear old school parenting versus new school parenting? Old school parenting versus new school parenting. And I want to show something first because this is the logo I believe that you sent to suggest this topic. And I guess this was supposed to be your mama and me because I'm the only boy. Yeah, and mama did have a dress like that.
She still do.
And that was her third belt that she hadn't wore out yet. So what do you think when you hear the term old school parenting versus new school parenting?
I think that the first thing that comes to mind is whooping versus gentle parenting is what you hear nowadays. Mm-hmm. So that whole gentle parenting approach is what the new school says, and whooping or not to whoop is kind of
lie. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Mika, what do you think when you hear old school parenting versus new school parenting?
I hear and I think about
what's up there? What's up there? You're educated. I know you done asked kids that before. What's up there? I hope some of your students be listening and watching too, so they can see
Luckily,
this.
I'm not in the classroom anymore. So
Well, your teachers did. You be trying to
Mm.
tell their ass how to teach, and you looking up, man.
Well,
He is cutting up.
get out of my
It's
business.
probably because of this good old guava margarita that I'm working
You
on.
had
'cause,
that last
hey,
night. You need
I
that
did. I
every
made a whole picture of it on Sunday
Okay, I'm on my
noonday,
way after the show.
right after church. Go ahead.
Boy, I almost cussed right there.
Good
Old school versus new school. I think of different parenting types. I think of us trying to be friends versus parents. I think of spanking versus beating or different opinions from other people. That's what I think of right away.
Okay. And before I get Nikki's comments, CJ, we want to know your comments. Being a new parent, you got a little son over there, so I know you are trying. You have actively been, which kudos to you, my friend, but you've been actively trying to check out and get advice and get thought processes on parenting. I know you lean on Justin quite a bit, which is a wise deal. Justin's a good dad.
Okay.
So yeah. So I want to know your thoughts, where you're leaning on this, if your thoughts are changing, if they're not changing. Are you fuzzy on it like Nikki's Camry is right now? Just let us know. Go
well,
ahead,
hush.
Nick. It is. Is it fuzzy to y'all, Mickey and Lily?
You know
It's a little
what?
fuzzy.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Mind
Just
your
Put your-
business and
Put your
let them
glasses
talk.
on. Put your
That's
glasses
okay.
on. Put your glasses
If
on
I'm
to see if it
all,
clear
I
up.
don't want to put my glasses on
Lee
Okay,
is
go
an
ahead.
idiot.
don't do it.
Go on,
I'm
Richard.
not.
L. What's the
because
answer?
last time I had my glasses on, you asked why I had on. I ain't please you.
You done got caught something in your throat, haven't you?
Yeah.
For your information, I've been having sinus all week.
Yeah, you got that. You got that Rona over there.
You a lie.
Stop.
You a lie.
I almost choked to death at a
The
CVS
devil
the other
is
day,
a liar.
trying to
So
get
you must
some,
have it.
trying to get something for the thing, and I accidentally swallowed some spit the wrong way.
Good,
And I didn't want to
that's
be,
what
you
get.
know, when you're something to go down to your windpipe, you know them coughs be like death in the
Hard.
car. And I was trying not to cough so folks wouldn't think I had nothing. Boy, look at here. I almost took me out of here.
I almost
just
passed
walked
out.
out like it was church. All right, Nikki, what do you think when you think old school parenting versus new school parenting? Because I know Wilma Jim whipped that out.
Just that. Oh, she put yours more than me, baby.
She knew not to touch me.
Boy, bye.
Ooh,
But,
I cannot wait to talk to her after this.
Yes, just exactly the way it sounds. The younger generation, they definitely, and I have a grandbaby who's 2.5 years old, and my parenting skills and her mom's parenting skills are what Alicia was talking about, the new way that the younger adults do. And for me, I think that's just simply it. And she tells her gentle a lot. She tells her some of the things that Alicia was talking about a lot of the people do on these groups and stuff. So I think that our mom, she and her siblings, some of them even have separate ways of parenting their kids.
Yes, some of them used to bring their kids over to our mama to do the whooping.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so she didn't play about that gentle and all that stuff. But nowadays things have changed. So
okay, well, we're gonna find out. If, a matter of fact, my legal department is currently looking up if the statute of limitations still applies on spanking. Because if not, you're going to jail today. We know where you are.
We'll get you out.
Let's see. Monique said it's all about balance. Spanking works when coupled with love and reasoning. Beating children without love and reflection doesn't work in a positive way. Well, I'm an entrepreneur who got the hell beat out of him to where some days when I'm in the shower, you know that little post whooping cry that you have hours later. I done had years later.
Oh my God.
All right, CJ says that me and my girl get into it all the time about this subject. She does not want me to put my hands on him, but I always tell her if I got her, then I will. If I got to, I don't know what he was trying to say.
Probably if I have to, I will.
If I got to, have to, I will. Okay. And Keisha said, I think spanking made me worse. I found other ways to be bad. Hell, I'm still bad, no doubt.
Yes, she is.
Nicole, you are a teach blurry, sis. She done clear it up now.
You're not clear.
Teach.
You was just a taint, just a taint.
Thank you,
Okay,
Keisha.
so what this so let me ask you this question then, and we'll start with you on this, Nikki. Because me and you both would be the first to admit, and for our viewing audience, they need to know Mika and Lily did not get whooped nowhere near as much as we did. No, hell no.
Because we were so good.
No, it wasn't that.
She didn't have to. Y'all was soft. Y'all was punks. Because once she jumped in that tub, on Mika ass, y'all both good.
That taught Alicia.
She jumped in there like Jaws.
Alicia didn't want none of them problems, did you?
See, Mika still don't take no more baths. She takes straight showers.
You a lie. You a lie.
Yeah, Wilbur
You take wash-offs now?
Yeah, monkey.
A little bit.
No,
she didn't. And she was tired by the time she got to us. So
that's my point.
That's
my point.
I was a great kid, though. You can ask Mom that.
So, like I said, we got
good.
more whoopings than y'all did. So, you can answer this question first, Nikki. Did this help us or hurt us? Did spankings help us or hurt us?
I think with us I think it helped us. Ow! I do. I really do.
This is dumb. This is dumb.
He is real dumb. I really think that it did help us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Mika, did this help us? Did this help us or hurt us?
Silly.
Don't hit that again.
That was me when I was in the 6th grade. I just flunked a 6 weeks of history and made a 58 in Mrs. Carr class. No, it wasn't Mrs. Carr. That was my algebra teacher. I can't remember. I remember her face, red hair. She was an alcoholic. She was just drinking class. No kidding.
Wow.
Miss McKay or something like that.
Memorial Middle School.
That older redhead lady.
Uh-huh.
Don't tell her name now if she was drinking on the clock.
Well, shit, she should have been drinking on the clock. And hell, that's been 38 years now. She probably with the Lord drinking right now. Yeah. Lucifer, one of the two. Probably Lucifer. But she had red hair. She drank vodka, so we wouldn't smell it.
Help the Lord.
All right, Mika, go ahead. Did this help us? Or did this hurt us?
I think I don't know. You need to stop so we can get through this show. I think it did help us because it made us to reflect. The next time we wanted to do that same thing or even something close to that. Mm-hmm. So I think it made you reflect. But again, I was a kid, and I hate to say it, but I was a kid that wanted to know why. So I think sometimes, even after you get whoopings, you need to say, okay, you got a whooping because X, Y, and Z. And you shouldn't have done that because, and this can happen because. And I know some parents are like, I don't have to explain anything, and you don't. But when my mama, because Daddy did not whoop us. He did not. He was like, I'm not whooping you.
He was worried about getting whooped. Hey, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Oh my God.
I knew who Wilma Jean was. Yeah.
He would be like this.
And she carried that pistol. He probably was back there saying, hey, nigga, cut it out there. Or you get us all. You get us all in trouble.
He was in the background saying, you better stop. You better stop. But
his hands were too heavy.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
So yeah, I think it gave us time to reflect and think about what we did and why and all that good stuff.
Okay, that's what they make time out for. But okay, Lily, did that help or hurt?
I think that coupled with the whole old school versus new school, I like to kind of take a little bit of both, right? So I think that sometimes when kids do something, and I have this discussion all the time. If first I'll be like, okay, don't do that, right? Okay, we have that talk, and this is why you don't do that. And like Blake, he gonna do it again because he like to test you. So his usually gets to the whooping part. So I think that if you introduce them and let them know why it's not right to do what they're doing, and I've also coupled in that whooping, 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna have to do it again with Blake because he already know. Okay, I can't do that because I've already know why I can't, and I've been whooped for it.
Right.
So I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
Now he's still gonna be a boy, but I'm thinking I don't think with people jump out the window saying that whooping hurt us completely. I don't believe that at all.
Right.
I think that a whooping can kind of be what you need, and some of these kids need to be whooped nowadays, but beat is different.
Right.
So I think that people kind of mix the two.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this: a couple of things. First of all, you okay? She done swallowed that spit the wrong way. I can tell the way it came up. That wasn't that ain't no Rona cough. Hey, that's how I done sucked this spit down my windpipe. It ain't the last cough either. See that she fighting it right now.
You okay? You don't have any water?
She turning yellow over there and everything. The tears running down the eye.
You're right.
Okay, so a couple of things on Lily that Lily sparked. The first thing I'll tell you is that I've personally observed Lily and Brandon parent their kids. And I think they have a very nice balance. In fact, I can't remember who it was I was talking to the other day. It was either Alicia or it was Craig, one of the two, but a very nice balance of giving them the freedom to be who they are, which is why you walk in the house and you look subject to see Blake ass go turn 7 black flips in a row.
He did that today.
And be okay, right? Ain't no problem. But at the same time, he run that Tonka truck through the kitchen and he down on his hands and knees scrubbing it up, right? Because he put it down, he messed it up, right? So again, I see great balance over there, right? So I think y'all are doing a fantastic job with regard to the balance. But her comment makes me think and realize, in a comment I want to get out there to the masses, is that every kid isn't the same. Just like every kid doesn't learn the same, every kid doesn't respond the same. True. So as a parent, you have to tailor your parenting style to the kid. And again, sometimes this is a situation that I've learned the hard way. Matter of fact, it was Craig that I was talking to about this now, because I said to myself, it was by God's grace that we got through some of the stuff. We did the absolute best that we could, that we knew what we were working with at the time. We were operating on good faith. In other words, this is what we think is best. This is how we're going to proceed because we want the best for you. Right. That doesn't necessarily mean we always did the right things, but our intentions were good, right? It wasn't done. It wasn't done with malice, right? And that's the same. That's the same grace that I want to give my parents, and I would like everybody to give their parents. They were operating with what they had, and the difference is that now in 2022 we have a lot more information out there. We have a lot more case studies within our own family to see this works, this doesn't work, this works, this doesn't work. So in essence, we actually have a better opportunity to parent better than our parents did because we got more information. Simple as that. Right. So for me, did this help us or help us? Again, there have obviously been several studies out there, and they have shown that physical punishment, including spanking, hitting, and others of other means of causing pain, can lead to increased aggression from a kid. Right. We've all heard that before, right? Antisocial behavior, physical injury. Shit, I done seen done. Being I done limp for a few months afterwards, and mental health problems for children. Americans' acceptance of physical punishment has declined since the 1960s. Yet, check this out: surveys show that 2/3 of Americans still approve of parents spanking their kids.
Wow,
isn't that a surprising number? 2/3 of Americans.
Absolutely.
It didn't say 2/3
really
of Black
surprising.
people. It didn't say 2/3 of white people. 2/3 of Hispanics. 2/3 of 2/3 of Americans still approve of parents spanking their kids.
I haven't seen 2/3 doing it though.
No, I haven't. But you know how it is. Like, for instance, Maddie didn't whoop their kid, but Maddie didn't disapprove either. Right? She wasn't handing out no whole bunch, again. So like I said, a lot of mama's sisters would choose, all right, I'm gonna call your ain't women. So they may not have done it, but they didn't necessarily disapprove.
But I think that, if you get in there and the younger you do it, Meaning, if you start disciplining your kids, spanking your kids at a younger age, when there's 8, 9, 10, you don't have to do it as much.
Yeah. So
You
so like
don't.
at what, 2 months, 3 months? How long?
No,
Bucks
no,
got?
no. 2
No,
months.
Shit, I don't know. You said that early.
no.
CPS.
What's wrong for that?
I would ask
Don't leave
him.
Brooks with him.
No, but that is so true because
It is
even
true.
like even with Cadence, I don't have to whoop Cadence. 9
Right.
times out of 10, you talk to Cadence, she in tears because she
Mhm.
already know that's my emotional child. So I have to parent her different than
Yeah.
I parent Blake.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. CJ said, I feel like spankings are necessary, then unfortunately you have to keep doing it. But if they're not necessary, then chill on it.
Right.
I feel like old school parents kept unnecessarily whipping their kids, and it had a negative influence on the kid growing or
Yeah.
whatever. So
But
that's
like you
not a
said,
bad point.
right, it's not bad.
Sometimes it did move into that category. Like, okay,
Right.
you sure? Okay, we got a Facebook user. That must be Craig. He's what you doing, Jazzy Jeff?
I think it is.
Hey, this is
Oh,
it looks.
oh, I have to because our new system. And most people, the audience likes it. Yeah. Thank y'all. Appreciate your
Oh
support.
my.
And he said it was me, sir. So based on this, I can tell it was Craig, but he went
Yeah.
to Lakeview and he does not follow instructions well. Because if he did,
Oh, man.
if he did, he would have read this. Before leaving a comment, please grant Restream permission to see your name. Get Danielle, because I know you don't know how to do it. To copy this, to click on this link, let her do this part so we can see y'all name and stuff.
He
So
about to get to T.
call Danielle.
He gonna say
Shit,
T.
he know I'm telling him the truth.
T.
All right. Let's see. He said it was him. Okay, and then CJ says, then too, I'd rather discipline my kid than the whole world do it. That's the thing that you hear parents frequently say.
Yeah.
They said these whoopings kept you out of prison, you know,
That's true.
or whatever. Let's see, Kirby in the house. What's up, Kirby, man?
Hey, Kirby.
Good to have you. Peace and love on this evening. Are you gonna be a pilot? This is Craig. And see, let me say this. Like I said, Lakeview didn't teach him well, as you can see with the spelling. Are you gonna be a pilot? No, pilots go in the air, but it's you're gonna be a pilot. All right.
It's all right, Craig.
It's
Let's
okay.
Let's see. A-Trap in the house. He says, I'm still on
Air.
On air, beat those kids. Oh, he's still on air, beat those kids. Okay. Yeah, his show is going on, started at 6, so
okay.
It must be a good one. So he's still going on. Charlotte in the building. So good evening. What's up, Charlotte? The best voice on Built for This Network. And then he said, oops, are you? Yeah.
He called himself, see that?
Yeah, but he ain't caught them that clip so we can figure out. He the only one they can't see their name. Let's see. Charlotte says, my daughter is 22 and I can count on one hand the number of times she was spanked. It was effective, and that's why I never had to do it all.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
that's something. Monique said, right, Mika? A-Trap says, I'm here, I'm 2/3. Okay. It's meaning he supports the
he's the 2/3.
Charlotte says, my middle school students today try my patience every day and don't believe me when I tell them about consequences. Even as I'm responding to their defiance, they ask me, but Miss Wilson, why?
Yeah.
Okay. A-Trap says, beat them as soon as they come out. Never stop until they're 35.
Dang.
No. I just started getting
harsh.
Now tell us your real thoughts, sir, because there's a part of this that we're going to get into here in just a moment, and that is, are we adopting discipline from our oppressors by whipping our kids, right? And that's what it is. We've morphed it into whooping, but it stems from whipping. So are we adopting? And that's the real meat of this. The 1/3 that's against it, that's in a half that's against it in the Black community.
Yeah.
That is their first argument, to say that we have taken on the discipline measures of our oppressors, our slave owners from back in the day. So I need your thoughts on that, A-Trap. Let's see. Charlotte says they do not believe we will actually act, so they need to see that there are consequences to their bad behavior, despite numerous warnings. We have to act so they can learn, because talking isn't working. It was earthquake. So Chris Rock has a new special on Netflix, or new show, a series that he's producing, where he's putting out comedians now to come have their stand-ups on comedians. His very first one was Earthquake, which was a fantastic choice, and it shows how much respect he has for Earthquake too. And Earthquake says, you ain't got to whoop kids nowadays. He goes, and they say, so the audience member, somebody in the audience, I take their phones away. He says, nope, don't take away their phones and stuff. He said, cut that Wi-Fi on that.
Oh yeah.
He said, you cut that Wi-Fi. He said, they're gonna come in there like they on crack. Dad, I got no signal.
That's so true.
And he said he just sit there watching TV. Oh yeah, you ain't got no signal. No, do you have signal? He goes, yeah, my signal fine. But Dad, I don't have signal. He goes, get them grades up. Your signal will probably come back. So he said that's all you got to do now. Cut their signal. Pastor Smith says discipline kid is more than spanking. It's teaching, guiding, and instructing. The spanking reinforces consequences. When spanking is void of training and instructing, that's a beat.
That's
okay. All right. Gotcha. That's well said. Man. Well said. Well said. In fact, the kids even like that. So good job, Pastor.
I know he lying.
I'm so tired of these sound effects.
My youngest daughter, now 21, got her spanking beating. It was a mixture because she pissed me off when she was 17. I blame myself for always being a baddie when I was younger, but unlike me, she learned her lesson.
Wait, is Mama on here? I wonder if she's on here.
I don't know. Oh yeah, matter of fact, I'm glad Priscilla commented. So we had an excellent education at LC. Yeah,
because I wanted to ask her how old we were, because I don't remember how old you and I were when we got our last whooping. We was old. I think she was pregnant.
Yeah, she was pregnant with Mika, I think. She knew not to with me.
Yes, she did.
So Miss Baker. So we got Priscilla, Miss Baker on the line. Priscilla, how you doing this evening? And I'm gonna get to your comment in a second. But before I get there, our condolences go out to you. We know you had a death in the family. I believe it was your brother. So again, our condolences to you, thoughts and prayers to you and your family. Now she says, as soon as I turned on, tuned in, Teg was cussing. I was as soon as you tune out, I'm gonna be cussing. She says, I was an old school parent and whipped plenty of ass. Now who? She says, I have a 5-month-old great grandson, and when he hit me, I hit him in actually the same place. I hear a lot of people talking about that. See, I told you, Blanche ain't too far away. She's 5 months. But some people say that's the best way to teach them, is when they do something, so I get it. Let's see. A-Trap says, yes, we are. Let's see. CJ says, the Willie Lynch theory on that whipping part. Yep, that's exactly right. That's right. Now, Willie Lynch, boy. Hey, Miss Oliver.
Hey, Marie.
Glad to have you. I know y'all were there last week. We couldn't get your comments, but we have corrected that issue. Yeah. Let's see. We got Charlotte. She goes, that taps into breaking the cycles of abuse that we are subject to. She goes on to say, you can cut the Wi-Fi or take the charging cord. Yep.
That's right.
Now, they'll find ways to get a charge. You got to cut that Wi-Fi.
Yeah, cut the Wi-Fi.
See, I'm gonna tell you like this: if you have AT&T, you don't have to do none of that. Because y'all know I just upgraded my internet this past week. And so what you can do, they have an app that allows you to manage your users. So all you got to do is go look at what device they got. You have no access. So you can have 27 devices on at the house and that one is off. So you ain't got to go through that trouble. It's real easy. Let's see who this is.
They come in there with Shake Boys.
The only one who doesn't have a name, probably Craig. Yep. So he comes on and say, we received discipline at LC then. He's trying to say they got more discipline at Lakeview than South Garland. Therefore, more people from South Garland ended up in the Texas Department of Corrections.
Really?
A-Trap said, I was just about to say what my brother Smith said.
Yes.
Okay. Charlotte says, discussion after spanking is important. They need to understand the why. Yep. And I would actually further that by saying before and after, probably. CJ said, as Black people, we've always been taught that whipping was the best way to discipline somebody to keep them in order. But that's what our oppressors wanted. As Black people, that's all we know. But we need more teaching and guidance to our youth. So, yeah, now we know more, so we need to start. When you know better, you do better, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see. Miss Priscilla says, thank you. Love you guys. H-Rap says, meaning beating comes from the oppressor. Okay. Now, so when I was when my kids were still at home and, of the age that required disciplining, one of the things that I did do is that I didn't spank them every single time. I had a method which was calling them to hold books. So I would get those little gold rim books, the lightest books you can find. And then when that kind of went away, I changed to DVD cases, empty DVD cases. Y'all know how light those are. But I used to have them hold them out to their sides like this. And when I say, I used to have my kids begging me to give them a whooping. I'm like, okay, you want to hold books for 30 minutes or you want to whoop it? Give me a whooping. Nope, go hold books. So I knew what worked for them, I remember one time Shay when she was here, I told her I had the whole book. She was literally standing holding books, crying crocodile tears, saying, Daddy, please give me a spanking. So them books helped, man.
That's how I felt when Mama. That's how I felt like Shay. Whenever Mama would discipline us, I would rather have have a punishment versus a whooping.
This is a good one. This is a good one. And this is what I'm trying to get into. And I tried to do some research on that, but was only somewhat successful. Because my question was, and a matter of fact, I did get some information on this. So now that he brought it up, I'll say it. Because I said who invented and paddling was the only thing we could come up with. And actually, sailors introduced what's called corporal punishment. And that's what spankings are, right? And it's as old as the Hebrew Bible. And barehanded spanking was used to discipline children by the 18th century. So I think 1780 something was the earliest record of that, and that was pre-slavery, right? Other devices other than paddles, such as the birch rod, think about Bible, spare the rod, have also been used to flog the buttocks. That's what they call it, flogging, right? But people didn't commonly paddle each other on land until 19th century. In the 18th century, paddling was used at sea to discipline naughty seafarers, such as if they slacked off or went to sleep during their night watch. Instead of paddling, though, it was called cobbing. William Falconer, 1769, Universal Dictionary of the Marine, explained that cobbing is performed by striking the offender a certain number of times on the breech, meaning the buttocks, with a flat piece of wood called the cobbing board. So again, as Derek just said, whipping wasn't invented by white people. It was in the sea. And then also he says, what if they refused to hold the books? What was the recourse? Oh, they didn't refuse.
They didn't refuse.
They didn't refuse.
I don't know. I couldn't answer that question.
They didn't refuse.
I can't answer that question. They may have cried the whole way, but they didn't refuse.
I have to say,
we
would walk in the house a couple times and they be holding books, and you do your best not to look at them because you be like, let them put them books down.
Because they shaking.
I'd be like, hey, y'all.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Do you remember at Miller Road when Aunt Thelma used to pick us up from there?
Mm-hmm.
And that one day when I think I was in 4th grade. I think it was 4th grade.
Because that was close to that was probably the precipice for us.
That was our last year.
Out of that school. It was a private school, private Christian school. Yeah. So she picked you up.
I was the person that Miss McCracklin chose to go to the board to take names when she left the room.
And and you put on there.
And I put on
Miss
there.
McCracken has been very, very bad today. And she showed your ass what bad was. Wait a minute. Because she didn't have a sense of humor.
This is the part that made Aunt Thelma and Mama mad. Aunt Thelma and Mama both got on her. But all the other kids, of course, would put that on the board every time whenever she would leave out the room and leave them in charge. So the day that I did it basically pissed her off because of
she was on that cycle.
that too, probably. Yes. Because it wasn't that many of us there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so when Aunt Thelma found out, because she was there to pick us up, and I didn't come out yet. And so she was livid when she found out why I didn't come out. So she got all into that lady stuff. So that's why I just think about how even in school and stuff, kids can be disciplined for the same thing that they did, but in a different way. Some more harsher than others.
A-Trap laughing at you, even though you're new. CJ says, a quick side note, do you know our people in Africa would never spank or whip their children? And I'm talking about these were Africans back in the 17 and 1800s. Instead of whipping, Africans did a lot more teaching now that what they would do to discipline. And I guess he be running out. CJ got so much stuff, he be running out of characters on that. And now Wilma Jean Pierce, whoever that is, says, I need a naughty sailor. Isn't that something? Now, out of all the stuff we done said today,
about she want a naughty sailor.
I know.
She said she want to be hit by a naughty sailor. Mama,
don't you got Bronx with you right now? Or something?
Yes, she probably got it right in her arms.
Get back to babies, and I bet she laughing so hard she can't hold this bottle right now.
Wasn't Richard Earl saying?
Yeah, he was. Richard Earl, yeah, that's right.
Our daddy wasn't
Nicky Daddy wasn't saying.
Your daddy too.
About that.
Oh, may he rest in peace.
All right. So we need to talk about that when we get back. We're gonna go to Lili's segment, but when we get back, let's talk about that a little bit more. And I want your thoughts on: are we adopting the disciplines of our oppressors on that? CJ said, "Bruh, who is that? That's our mama, man. That's our mama." And
she
even Selena talking about, "Come on, mama."
Yeah.
And Priscilla talking about me too, Miss
girl.
And then Keisha gonna say, "Hello, I want to know this sailor too, Miss Wilma." Wow. She got her little freak core that started over there.
See, I can't.
All right. Well, now it's time for
the streets are talking.
No, that's too much.
Wow. No. This was in reference to what Mika was doing. The crowd is not liking it at all. They are not liking it. They are upset. Y'all calm down.
The thing is, she was about to die laughing before she could even get back on the thing.
Right.
Hilarious. All right, so the streets are talking. It has been, kind of the same stories going around, but we had a little, we had a couple things going on with Mr. Russell Wilson this week.
Look what CJ said. See, let me say this, man. If you wasn't my homeboy, man, look here. Justin, I need this boy address.
I like that.
I need this boy address. I need this boy address. I'm finna.
Not our mama.
Yikes.
I like it too, CJ.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, she put her name on there.
Yeah.
Now she can figure this out.
She put her name on there, Wilma Pierce.
It's her YouTube.
It's her username.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's her username on YouTube.
Go ahead, Wilma.
All right, go ahead, Lily.
So Mr. Russell Wilson. So it's been a couple things going on with him this week. Earlier this week, he proposed to his wife again. Asked her to have more of his babies. That's what he wants. He wants some more babies. So Sierra said, of course she will give him more babies.
She must wasn't giving it up enough, so he had to go public and ask for it again. Hey.
They were just being cute,
Yeah, ain't no cute there.
Shut up. Shut up.
I'm paying his rent over here.
Well, they can afford as many as they want.
In today's news, they sure got enough money to have as many as they
they got enough.
Let me check if Russell don't want to give you no more babies, hell, I will.
You offering?
But Russell was traded to the Denver Broncos today after 10
I didn't know that.
with the Seattle Seahawks. So This is pending a physical and signing off on the trade. So
Mhm.
that's interesting. A lot of people had a lot to say about it. Some people say it's a good move. Some people wanted him to go elsewhere. What are your thoughts? Should Russell Wilson be traded to the Denver Broncos, or did you want to see him on another team?
No, so I'm not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan by any stretch of the imagination, but now that Big Ben is gone, a lot of us wanted to see him with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
But I don't think Pittsburgh was interested, excuse me.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm glad to see him go just simply because Seattle hasn't invested in an offensive line to keep
He
him.
doesn't
Right.
have
Right.
anybody.
That's true.
Right.
He's probably one of the, since he's been in the league, I bet he's top 5 in the most sacked quarterbacks in the league.
Yes.
And it would probably be even more than that if he wasn't as mobile as he is.
Right.
Because the boy been running for his life for his whole football career, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm glad, I'm happy for him. Seattle people should not be happy.
I know. I thought he would always be there.
I'm glad to see him. I'm glad to see him go. I want to see what he can really do.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Hey,
Oh, he throwing ones at you.
Hey, let me count how many though. 1, 2,
You better
3,
talk to
4,
Sierra
5,
first.
6, 7, 8,
Oh,
9,
Mama said,
10,
"Give
11,
me
12.
your digits." Who's she talking to?
CJ, and she's out of line. You need to go.
And 70 and 70.
CJ, just let it be 71 in August.
You ain't gonna shit. He ain't gonna do nothing but have a babysitter that his newborn. Right with Bronx. It's gonna be him.
She did say, "Give me your digits."
It's gonna be Bronx, Mama, and CJ, baby. Oh wow! Look at this retarded.
Oh my gosh, Miss Wilma.
Oh my!
All right, Lily. So yeah, that's my take. Seattle shouldn't like it. The people of Seattle,
No.
the fans of Seattle.
I want to see him go so we can see what else he can do
Yes.
with the line.
That's what a lot of people said. A lot of people were happy to see him just go from Seattle Seahawks, period. Really didn't matter where he went. They just wanted to see him go from that team.
Yeah.
I think Tom Brady leaving a couple of years ago and having the success that he did was going to precipitate a lot more franchise type quarterbacks doing the same thing toward the end of their career.
All right. Last thing I have. So this repost was going around, and a lot of they were cutting up in the comments of this repost. So I wanted to read this to y'all and get your thoughts on it. So unpopular opinion. This says, I think DNA tests should be mandatory before you can put a last name on the birth certificate and health insurance or stuff like that. I don't understand why women are mad when a man wants one. You shouldn't be dodging it unless you are scared of the results. So a lot of people were going back and forth in the comments on unmarried versus married. So
what about it?
To that. So they were saying, well, if you're not married, you should automatically have a DNA test on an unmarried couple. But if you're married, it should be assumed. But then some people are like, people step out of marriages too.
That's true.
So why would it be a difference, right? So
yeah, but if you want to stay married, your ass better not be going to get no
DNA
test when y'all have a baby. Shit, what would you do if Brandon ass went and said, I need a DNA test? Shit, we couldn't calm your ass down. You done miss how old is Bronx? Your ass doesn't miss 8 weeks of shows.
You the pappy.
Yeah, and talking about, you can't do that with married or not. But
yes, but that's what a lot of people were saying. Like, you never know, because it's some of these married women are scandalous out there. They in the streets too.
First of all, let me get this comment off first. So she said, so she's single. Bet that finna hop out this live and get in and hop in her DMs. First of all, she doesn't know what DMs are.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, she
barely got you on
the
the text message.
She gonna ask her. She gonna ask you, Alicia, what it is when you get out.
Yeah.
Pastor said, "Mary need the DNA test."
Hello.
Keisha says, "I disagree with it being mandatory. It should be a choice." Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I know some judges, Dallas County judges, who are of the opinion that every single time, if you're unmarried, you better get a DNA test.
I was about to say, I mean, I think it should be a choice. But if a man is going to have to start paying, or man or woman is going to have to start paying child support, I think you should be able to take a test.
Mhm.
I
With
would think
child
so.
support, though, don't they do it anyway?
Nope.
No,
Nope.
they don't.
It's
They
not
don't
part of the
automatically do it.
process.
Nope.
What?
Nope.
Oh no, you ain't
So-
gonna have me paying. I'm gonna make sure.
Yeah, it ain't a part of the process. And let me just say this. I'm gonna go on and tell this story.
Oh my.
Matter of fact, I was still married at the time. And about a year before we had got married, before we had gotten together, I was with this snow bunny, white girl for your audience member. And we were doing what grown folks do. And so 6 years after we had been together, I get served with some papers.
6 years.
Yeah, get served with some papers while we was living on lake. So of course I go through the process. I ain't never denied none of mine, so I'm like, okay, let's go down to the place, met the kid. I didn't meet the kid yet. She gave me a picture of the kid. Kid looked like a little mixed baby, so yeah, I knew her daddy was at least black. So I get in front of the judge, and at the time let's see, because Chico was right at about 4 and this kid was 5. So I was probably 28 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I go down to the courthouse or whatever with, she was there and whatnot. And so the judge looked up at me, black judge. He was stack of papers because it was child support court. He was long docket. So he looked down, he looked up at me over his glass. He goes, hey, you want a DNA test? And I said, no, sir. He looked up, he goes, do you want a DNA test? Asked me a second time. I said, no, sir. And he looked over his glasses like that. He goes, do you want a DNA test?
You better get one.
And I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I sure do. And he goes, okay, I'll DNA test. Mm-hmm. And needless to say, it came back.
You are not the father.
I was dancing Michael Jackson in the thing. The kid is not my son. And so what I put together is apparently I wasn't the first brother she had brought in there.
Wow.
So he was looking out for me.
Yeah.
He was looking out for me. He was thinking to himself, nigga, you the third nigga that been in here. You better get a DNA test. So let me put it to you like this. I have been wanting to look for that judge and buy his whole dinner for the week if I could. Because boy, I was finna get railroaded.
Because guess what? You would have you would have had to pay child support, no questions asked.
Right. None of that.
Wow.
And I was fine with it because I ain't never been scared of no child support or nothing like that. Shit, the child support people paid me money back when my kids got 18. They're like, nigga, you overpaid it.
Man, that is crazy. I never knew that.
Jenny Pooh in the house. She says, I agree it should be mandatory. If you're afraid of a DNA test, something is wrong. Right on.
Yeah, you wouldn't be scared of that.
Jenna.
Yep.
Let's see. CJ says, you was with a white woman? Several.
Hey, that's enough.
CJ said, nah, my brother. Several.
We got everybody in our family.
CJ, here the deal. I was getting back at him for y'all.
Bye.
Let's go on to the next
Our family is not prejudiced by any means.
He just said, go for it, CJ. It should be mandatory. Some little skeezer tried to get my son like that. I told him that baby wasn't his because we don't birth kids that look like that. Wow. She sued him for child support. He found out it wasn't his, and we sent her on her way or whatever. Wow. Pastor Smith says you can just put a random guy's name down and he will be on the hook for child support. That's 100%.
Right.
There are guys fighting to stay out of jail right now who DNA proved they were not the father. They just waited too late.
To me.
Selena says, wow. Yeah, I was fortunate.
I really thought that you had to get a DNA test before you paid child
you go in there and
support.
say, that's my baby daddy. He need to be on child support.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, she can just be trying to get back with you.
And my two Chester and Keegan's dad, he went in, he came in. Huh?
Now go ahead.
He came in and told them that he wasn't the daddy, and it backfired on him.
Who said this?
Scooty did with Keegan.
Oh,
and it backfired on him. And even the people at the Gene Screen or whatever the place is.
Read the room, Nikki.
Yikes.
What?
That's okay. Your sound went out. Kirby said, "Devil, Doc, you silly."
Why I can't speak what I was saying? Who in the room
You
that don't need to
said
know?
nobody. You grown shit. Say what you want to say.
A whole adult, grown woman.
Yeah. Al said, in Kansas, I was ordered to get a mandatory test before I began child support. So it
See,
may be
that's
a
what I
state thing. It's
thought.
not Texas, I promise you.
Gee.
Well, not in Texas, yeah. So that's
But-
maybe
But
something you need
Texas
to do.
different.
Yeah.
Texas different.
Yeah, Texas
Yeah.
trying
Yeah,
to
they
get that
different.
bread. They trying to get you off the tit of the state. Hey, that's what they
That's
trying to
right.
do.
Ooh, Lordy. That's a dangerous world out there, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you got to start wrapping it up. Shit.
You got
Tim.
to.
Wrap
to
it
be more
up.
careful.
I'll take it.
Mm.
Got to be more
All
careful.
right, let's go ahead and get just your quick thoughts on are we adopting the discipline of our oppressors? We'll start with you and Nikki on that. And then after we go around with that, we'll give our final thoughts. Okay, so is spanking adopting the discipline of our oppressors? Yes or no?
Yes, I think it is, but I don't think that we truly really knew that as parents, and our parents might not have known that either. So you just, I mean, it's just you learn by trial and error with disciplined kids. It's just the way it is.
Miss Priscilla said, hold it before you wrap it up. What?
Before you wrap it.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, that's all right, Miss Priscilla.
Okay, Mika, are we adopting the discipline of our oppressors?
Yeah, I would only say so because as of I didn't know that it didn't come from slavery and all that good stuff and from our oppressors. So, like you said, I think we thought we were adopting it without knowing the history behind it. So I think we just went with it because we felt like it kept people in line. So we adopted that to keep our kids in line.
Pastor, that's the answer to is the state get a cut of child support payments? She goes, there's an annual fee. So
Didn't know that either.
There's some money.
Learning tonight.
I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right, Lily, are we adopting the discipline of our oppressors?
I think so, but I agree with what Mika said. I think it's one of those things unknowingly we did, but we were just doing what we thought was right? So I think so for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. So for me, I think there's no question about it. We are, because that's 9 times out of 10, that's where we got it from, and it's what we saw, and I believe it is what we thought would be effective because obviously it had some effect on us.
Yeah.
Right. On our people. So they thought it would be effective. Now, I don't think by any stretch of the imagination, we took it to the extreme that our oppressors did. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think, I think it's very rare that you would see us spanking our kids to that same level. I'm not saying it doesn't happen because it does. Yeah. But I don't think we see it to that same level by any stretch of the imagination. But I think we have adopted the discipline measures of our oppressors. Now that again, just because we've adopted it does not necessarily mean that it's not effective. Even though, just like anything else, you can find 100 studies that show that spanking is not effective. You can find 100 studies that show that it is, so it still comes down to what's effective for your kid, and as people have mentioned earlier, balance is key. All right. And Lily, we're going to start with you on this. We're going to give our final thoughts and say our goodbyes because our hour is up.
That was fast. Thank you for tuning in this week. I think it's very interesting. I know I learned a lot from whooping and the roots from it and where it started and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's one of those things where you have to parent your child the way that your child responds to. So you can't use a one-all approach, right? So each child is different. So you have to cater to that child and that child's needs in order to be effective. Because I know some people that were whooped and it did nothing for them. they got a whooping and went out and did the same thing. So you have to know what works. And parenting did not come with the handbook. So I think that our parents, some people said, I know this hot debate has been out, and a lot of people are like, well, my mama whooped me all the time for nothing at all. But I think that they thought that was the only thing. We talk more to our kids now. So it's really important to kind of open up that door of, like Mika said, giving them the why, but also they have to learn by experiencing the consequences of their actions. So, but yes, that was good.
Thank you, Monique. She says, great show. I love the sibling bond.
Thanks,
Thank you, Monique.
Mika, final thoughts.
Y'all, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for making our show what it is. And again, you have to make sure that you know, when you heard us tonight, we said spanking, not beating. There is a difference. And like Alicia stated, there's a balance. When when it comes to discipline our kids, spanking also comes with love. You tell them, you want to explain to your kids why, how, when, where, and why you shouldn't do this again. And I'm doing this because, and then, I think your kids learn. The sooner you start disciplining your child, the better they are when they're 8, 9, 10. You can just throw them a look and they know, hey.
Like Miss Priscilla said, she started at 5 months.
She didn't say 5 months, Tig.
She did.
And then she put her name at the beginning.
She did. And then people are looking for her right now.
They might be looking for you.
So I just say, spankings come with, I think it's a benefit to spanking, not beatings.
All right.
Yeah.
Nicole, final thoughts.
Thank you guys for joining in as always. Welcome, CJ. I hope you come back to our show next week and every week thereafter. We appreciate you, and we appreciate all of our listeners that's here every week. So just thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. And with regards to our topic, I think sometimes that the way our parents parented us, that caused some of us to parent the way our parents parented us when we were younger, because they didn't know they maybe didn't know how the right way to parent. But as we became parents, I think that I did. I adopted the way that my mom disciplined. But with my 2-year-old grandbaby, it's a little different. I do, if she does way too much, I'll say, do you want a pow pow? Now it's like, if I say, do you want a pow pow? She said, no, Coco, I don't want it. Don't want it. So they do learn. And kids will also at these earlier ages now, even more earlier than we were, younger than we were, they tend to try you more. They're more fierce. They're not scared of nothing. So you have to see what it is the right way to discipline them, every kid, because every kid is different. So not everybody is wrong in the way that they discipline, but it's each, like Alicia or Mika said earlier, all kids are different. Nobody is the same. Some kids, you can just give them a look and they'll sit down. Other kids, you got to keep talking to them and talking to them. And at some point, you're going to get tired of talking, and then you have to show them, who's the boss, basically. So I don't see I'm not going to ever, unless somebody is physically beating a child, I won't ever say don't discipline, don't to do that, because that's not good. Yep. Because you wouldn't want anybody to beat you if you were a child. So I just keep in mind that there's consequences for things like that. So I thank you guys again, and y'all have a good evening.
Well, for me, it's like this. We all know fathers who are fantastic fathers who daddy wasn't shit.
Right.
I'm going to say that again. For all of us, we know fathers who were fantastic fathers who daddy wasn't shit. So we don't always adopt what our parents do or their parents did. Sometimes we utilize that as motivation to be better than what they were. Now, again, for me, I used a balance, but it was well established that wasn't no games going to be played at the house, right? So for me, it all depends on how this discipline is given, this physical discipline is given. Good, healthy discipline is needed. Abuse is something totally different.
That's right.
It is obvious that we can look at the difference between our generation, the generations before us, and this current generation who's getting less spankings than ever before. And you tell me whether you think it's effective or not. The proof is in the proverbial pudding that we have one of the most undisciplined generations and the most entitled generations that are out there. So for my money, I think there's a place for it. But like many of the viewers and our co-hosts have said today, spanking without explanation, spanking without love, and the practice should be the sandwich approach. You love on them before. You know, that whole this gonna hurt me more than you it's hurt you. You know, even though I thought it was BS as a kid, it's necessary. You get that spanking, and then you talk to them some more afterwards. Again, it is a necessary evil. Sometimes, if you're trying to keep your kids out of the system, you better have some sort of discipline. So if spanking ain't your way, hey, that's cool too. Do it your way. It's not the only way. You know, just because folks are for spankings does not mean it is the only approach that works.
No.
But we stand our family, and I'm gonna speak for my family, my entire family, my sisters, my mama, my aunties, my cousins. We do not judge in our family. We don't put up with that. We done seen and been a part of some of everything you could see and be a part of. So we do not judge. So do it how you gonna do it, and there is no one way. You know, there's more than one way to skin to skin a cat. So again, do it your best way. Try to balance in everything is necessary, right? Whether it be in discipline or in life. If you don't have balance, you're gonna be unbalanced. So let's see some final comments here. Brian says, I said beat. Miss Priscilla says, very informative show. Loved it. Don't be trying to be nice now. Yeah, don't be trying to be nice now. CJ said it was my first show and loved it. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
H-Rap says, great show, family. Appreciate you, H-Rap. CJ talking about if Wilma is on, then I'm on.
Okay. All right, CJ, we're gonna get you.
Ooh, and Priscilla says she ain't scared of them people. She put her address out there.
No, she did.
Yeah.
She said, come on, baby.
Miss Gates says another great show.
Thank you, Shayla.
Shayla.
And A-Trap says hit the like button. Yep, hit that like button, subscribe, share, please, please, please.
All of that.
Golden Brook said A-Trap got his ass smoked.
He must have.
He said as soon as I get grandchildren beat down right after doctor hit them, then I will. Yeah. Wow. And when you become like Nikki said with the sailor, you know, as you become older, you know, you move into that grandparent role, and the grandparent role isn't gonna be
soft,
spanking as much as they're super soft. So that ain't gonna help. Let's see.
Ask Miss Wilma.
Girl, ask Mama.
And Charmin.
And I think he was trying to say bad dads make awesome fathers. Miss Priscilla says, finally, I agree with Ted.
Oh, man.
A-Trap said, agreed, dog. A-Trap says, judge me, I beat children. Let's see. Keisha says, CJ trying to beat to be at family game night.
Dang it.
Golden Brick says she ain't never scared. I heard that. All right. Again, we appreciate y'all. Next week's show, we have a very, 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 very exciting show. Do women have it harder than men? And we will have special guest host Andre Jones.
Hades, yes.
We will have special guest Andre Jones of the Lunch Break Sports Show, who has recently retired after 40 years in radio.
Oh, wow.
After 40 years in radio, he is retired from radio, but he is not retired from the radio business and podcast and things of that nature. In fact, he's having a studio built in Houston to not only support his show, but other podcasters and the like. He still has a show. He still has a show here on BS3 Network. He's live on Roku, live on YouTube, and it is must listen / watch for me every single day, lunch break between 12 and 2. So look at the BS3 network. You can find the link. So he'll be on next week. He's a little afraid of the queens. He's made that perfectly clear.
Come on in here,
In fact,
Andre.
on his show today, he mentioned it and he goes, I think I agreed to be on that show on the 15th, but I got to tell you, I'm scared. So he's like, King Doc, you gotta help me. So that ought to be fun next week. So please join us again and help us to welcome Mr. Andre Jones. We're gonna celebrate him a little bit for his 40 years in radio and whatnot.
Love it.
So that ought to be a great show. But we appreciate you here at Queen3 and King, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
family.
Peace.